What's up, guys? Welcome to the video. Today we're going to talk primarily about macros, if you need to count them, what exactly they are, and if you're going to count them, how to do that. So let's go on with the video.
My time has come. I will choose in my hand. Say my name when you pray to the sky. Seek out holiness right.
So I hope you guys can hear me. It snowed earlier and it just started snowing again, and the wind's kind of starting to pick up. And I'm driving back to Kansas right now from Nebraska. But let's get on with the video. So I've got a few key points that I wanted to touch on here on my phone. So let's start with, do you need to count macros? Short answer is, for most people, no. For people like myself, I definitely need to count macros just because I will not eat enough if I'm not logging like the food that I'm eating mostly, for the most part, like, you know, more days than not. Days where I don't really count macros, I start dropping weight, which is how I know that I'm not eating enough. Especially when, you know, I'm starting to bulk or I'm trying to lean bulk, anything like that. So pretty much macronutrients are protein, carbs, and fat when most people talk about them. And basically carbs and protein, each 1 gram of each is going to be 4 calories. Fat is going to be 9 calories. And a calorie basically is the amount of heat needed to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water 1 degree Celsius. And calories are also those things that, you know, end up making people fat or helping people lose weight, you know, when they count them properly and all that kind of stuff. So there are apps out there, and I'll post a picture of a few apps right now. I personally use one that I found on Google Play, and I think it's just called MACROS. It's like a little green app. I'll see if I can find a picture and put that up here in the video also. And basically, it even has this online portion where you can type in a food from whatever restaurant or whatever, you know, the brand name and all that kind of stuff. You can type in all of that, and basically it'll count the macros for you. It knows how much protein, fat, carbs, fiber, even, you know, sugar and everything like that is in whatever kind of food. Whatever the food is that you know, pretty much are eating, consuming. So basically, most people don't need to count calories because they can kind of gauge them, you know, after they've been doing it for a while, they can kind of gauge themselves on where they're gaining weight or strength or anything like that. You know, and whether they're doing any of that kind of stuff, and they can kind of tell, like, oh, I'm eating too much or I'm eating too little. But that's most people. But there are a few people out there, like myself, that definitely have to count macros or will be under eating or overeating. Or not getting enough protein, not getting enough carbs, or too much of one or the other, you know, or fat or anything like that. But if you're going to count macros, this is pretty much a video on how to do that. So essentially, you're going to want to calculate your resting metabolic rate, which is the energy required by your body to perform like the most basic functions when your body's at rest. So you definitely need to make sure you're not like skipping meals or going, you know, days without eating, because your body will pretty much start to eat itself, for lack of a better word. You know, it'll start taking the energy your body's using for certain things and putting it towards other things, and if you're not feeding your body properly, your body pretty much will, you know, kind of start to give up on you, and that's definitely not what we want. So a calorie is roughly, a pound is roughly 3,500 calories. So a pound is also, you know, about 0.45 kilograms, if I remember correctly. And in order for you to lose 1 pound a week, for instance, you are going to have to eat about 500 calories less for 7 days, give or take a few days, and give or take a few calories also, because people's metabolic rates tend to change over time. Some quite rapidly, and some are slower than others. That's just a genetic thing, and, you know, your environment, how much you're sweating, how much your energy you're exerting, or how much force you're exerting on everyday, you know, tasks, on if you go to the gym or not. You know, if you have a job where you're, you know, using your hands and you're, you know, doing kind of hard labor, or you know, lifting and walking around a lot, all that kind of stuff, that kind of plays a role in how many calories you're going to burn. So you have to give or take a few days, or give or take a few calories. And you know, I take a week to kind of calculate my metabolic rate, my resting metabolic rate, just in general, to get an average of, you know, where you want to be when you start counting. So if you're going to lose a pound a week, essentially, you want to eat for 7 days, roughly. You want to eat 500 less calories a day from what you're currently eating, or what your current resting metabolic rate is, and you'll lose roughly a pound. In that time, if you want to gain weight, say your resting metabolic rate is 2,500 calories, and you want to gain 1 pound per week, you're going to eat 3,000 calories a day as opposed to 2,500 calories. And you want to make sure that you're getting the, you know, your foods that you're eating and consuming and everything, including liquids, drinks, like Gatorade, Powerade, you know, obviously milkshakes, things like that, sodas. If you guys are drinking that kind of stuff, you also want to include those, you know, smoothies, all that kind of stuff, because they do have, you know, macronutrients in them. And I'll touch on that a little bit later in the video. So you want to make sure that you're getting the right amount of protein, right amount of carbs, and right amount of fats. Right now, I'm bulking, and what I'm at, I believe, is 50% of my diet, of the macros that I consume on a daily basis, are carbs. I want to say roughly 30% is protein, and 20% is like fats. Primarily healthy fats, if I can. This is my first bulk that I've ever done, and I've only been doing it for a little over 2 weeks now, about 2.5 weeks. And I'm the kind of person that, yes, I love making, you know, gains and everything, and I've been doing that, you know, actually pretty quickly after not lifting for like 2 or 3 months. But I was doing more of a lean bulk thing, you know, where I could still see my abs pretty much every day. I just kind of get worried when, like, I can't see my abs, so this time I'm actually dedicating, not doing a dirty bulk, but I'm dedicating to a bulk. Yes, I'll still work my core as much as I can, but I also want to gain quite a bit of strength. I'm trying to hit a 275 bench right now. Yesterday, I hit a 5-rep PR on bench press with 225. The most I've ever hit it for in the past, I think, was 3 or 4 reps, like clean, and without a spotter yesterday, I hit it for 5 reps. And I was going for a 5x3 with 225 on bench press yesterday. And for some reason, I just went in there and I was like, screw it, you know what? On this bulk, I got to do, you know, more reps or whatever, more weight. And I just decided to do a couple more reps. So I got on the bench, sat down without a spotter. I definitely had like somebody there, like my girlfriend was actually there, and she was there just in case, you know, like, hey, I dropped it and like didn't pick it up. But luckily I was able to do that, and I hit 5 reps. All of them were pause reps, and it felt pretty easy, honestly. I think I could have got like 6, maybe 7 reps. 7 definitely would have been like pretty challenging, but I think I could have got it, at least 6. So I did 5 reps for the first set, and then I did a 4x4 with 225 after that. Because I failed the second rep, or the second set of 5, so I just said, you know what, I'll do 4x4 after that. And then I also did 2 sets of 2 reps, that way I could still get the same amount of volume, which was 25 reps at 225 pounds on bench press, which, you know, I've never done that in like, you know, a day before, so pretty happy with that. Yesterday was chest and back, so that was pretty awesome. But you want to make sure, basically, when you're counting macros, you're getting the right percentage of everything, because carbs are definitely going to give you that long-lasting energy, like pasta, spaghetti specifically. I know when I was doing cross-country and long-distance track, we'd always eat, you know, pasta the night before a meet or a race, just because we get that long-lasting energy that lasts, you know, the whole next day, and we feel, you know, really good while we're running. We wouldn't be like super tired or fatigued or any of that kind of stuff. And so protein is definitely going to give your muscles that energy you need to, or that energy and like protein and everything that you're going to need in order for your muscles to recover. Fats are good for you. You need fats just to sustain like everyday life. Your body's going to need that, but you have to be careful when you're in a calorie surplus, which is basically when you're eating more calories than your resting metabolic rate is, because even if you're eating more protein than anything, your body's going to end up storing everything that it does not burn or use. It's going to end up storing it as fat. If it's not using it for your muscles to recover, or if you just to perform everyday life, and function, and it's not burning those calories or putting those calories towards building muscle or anything like that, everything that's stored in your body is going to store it as fat. Your body's not going to store a whole bunch of carbs and protein as much as it will fat. Pretty much everything's going to end up being stored as fat. So you have to be careful on that, which is why my diet is pretty much just a 20% fat and 30% protein, and I'm at 50% carbs right now. So just for a little bit of guidance on what foods are pretty high in protein. So you've got things like oats, egg whites, chicken breast, obviously lean beef. Definitely go with the lean beef. Greek yogurt. You've also got tuna, which is like definitely one of my favorites. You also have protein shakes, obviously, and protein bars. But when you're talking about those two, you need to, it's always better to go for like a chicken breast or a tuna, where it's actually a food that comes with it, and it's not something that's been altered or kind of made in a lab, like protein powders. Not talking crap on protein powders and protein bars, because I definitely eat protein. I take protein shakes, and I also eat pure protein bars, and this flavor is chocolate peanut butter, just because I think this is, in this brand, this is the highest protein content I could find, and it was 20 grams of protein, 2 grams of sugar, and it's like 200 calories, so it helps me hit my macros, and it tastes really good. It's a lot easier to eat than I think it's the dark chocolate one. The dark chocolate one has a little bit less protein, I think, to fat ratio, and I think it's only like 180 calories or something like that. And this one's a lot like softer and easier to chew, because like I hate when I'm trying to get a protein bar and it's like super, like it's a dark chocolate or something, and it's like super chewy, so it takes you forever to like swallow it. Like when I'm trying to bulk, I'm trying to like just hurry up, chew the food, and get it down in my gut, in my stomach, so it can start doing its thing and being used. So those are foods that are pretty high in protein. Obviously, go for like the tuna and the chicken breast and all that kind of stuff. So foods that are high in carbs also, because you definitely want your carbs not super high, but you want to make sure that you're eating enough carbs, in your diet. 50%, anywhere from like 45 to 50% is definitely going to be a good area to start on, carbs. So when it comes to carbs, you've definitely got foods that are like, let's see, got a couple examples here. Carbs specifically, you've got like bread, pasta already touched on, spaghetti specifically for long term. They're slow releasing carbs, so your body they won't let them immediately get metabolized like fats almost, and it'll release it slowly over time. So your body can use it, instead of like eating something like a candy bar, where you might get a quick burst of energy and then crash, an hour later. That'll kind of keep your energy, slow releasing and pretty high, at a higher rate than normal, for a longer amount of time, maybe a day or, excuse me, a little over a day. You also have like cereal and rice. So when it comes to cereal, a cereal that I definitely like is Frosted Flakes. Just because Frosted Flakes have absolutely no fat. They are pretty high in sugar, which sugar metabolizes as a carb, but most people see that it tends to go pretty much directly to your stomach, which is definitely not good. You also got like, bread and all that kind of stuff. Sugary beverages are included in that, because a lot of sugary beverages, sugar's metabolized as a carb. So like sodas, and there are a lot of drinks out there pretty much, like, Coke, Pepsi, all that kind of stuff. It's pretty high in carbs, but it has, pretty high sugar content also. While sugar is metabolized as a carb, it definitely, like I just said, it's not the same as eating like a pasta or, like a multi-grain bread or anything like that. When it comes in general to you, like, when it comes in general to like counting macros and stuff and looking for foods, one thing I do is I'll say that I get like a protein bar. I'll grab a protein bar from Pure Protein, like the chocolate peanut butter one I just showed you guys, and I will compare that and the macronutrients in that to, say, you know, another flavor or another brand, just to see what has a higher protein to fat ratio, or, you know, if I'm trying to bulk, I'll see what has higher carbs, you know, and a little bit lower fat. But I always try to have my protein ratio about 1.5 times what my fat is, because my fat is, you know, 20% of my diet, and my protein is like 30% of my diet. And, you know, 1.5 times 20 is 30. So I just kind of go for that ratio in general whenever I'm looking at foods. Like I said at the beginning of the video, you definitely, like, most people won't need to count macros. They can kind of do it for themselves, or just come up with a diet. There are definitely websites online. I'm pretty sure you can go and calculate your resting metabolic rate for the most part on bodybuilding.com, and there are a few other apps and, you know, websites that'll do it for you for the most part. It'll take like your height, your weight, your level from like 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 on daily exertion, and, like, you know, all this other kind of stuff. Take your body fat, you know, all these readings and all this kind of stuff, and it'll pretty much calculate pretty much everything you need for the apps to do that. You can definitely do it on paper if you know, trust your math and all that kind of stuff. Just remember, if you're going to do that, that carbs and protein both are, for 1 gram of each, is going to be 4 calories, and it's going to be 9 calories for 1 gram of fat. So I hope you guys really like that video, and I hope you find it very informative. Sorry again if, like, the sound's not clear. It's like super windy and snowing really, really bad right now. Again, I thought it was only going to snow once today. Obviously, I was wrong. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video, found it informative. Make sure that you leave a comment down below, like, share, and subscribe. Feel free to share the video. That way, you know, your friends and everybody, or anybody, share it with anyone that you think will find it informative or has any questions about diet, how to perform any exercises, just a general workout, because I know a lot of people come up to me in the gym or at work, or, you know, from Facebook or Instagram, whatever, and they'll say, hey dude, is there any way you can recommend like a workout or a diet plan for me? You know, and no, I'm not a nutritionist, but I definitely do know quite a bit about you know, macronutrients and nutrition in general. I did have to take a nutrition course when I was getting my personal training certification, and it's definitely you know, helped me gain the knowledge that I think that I needed in order to, you know, help train people and give people coaching and tips, things like that, just in everyday life. So make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
When I go in the arena, make the ground shake, make the ground scream. Me feeling like I'm an enemy. Bring the fire when I fight to them.